Whenever I counsel a new diabetic in pregnancy, we spend a lot of time on that first visit going over how to check your glucoses, how to eat for diabetes in pregnancy, how we're going to monitor the baby, what kind of healthy movement is mom now going to begin or continue. And I invite you to ask questions at that point. For the most part, people are overwhelmed at that visit and they don't have a lot of questions. So we usually follow up in a week with everybody, and that's where we can answer most of the questions, because some of them you don't even think of until you begin the process. In this video, I'd like to address the most common questions that people come back to me with after a week of checking their glucoses. The number one question that I get after the first week is, what the is happening with my glucoses? They are all over the place. Some are high, some are low, and my answer is that's pretty normal for the first week. This is the week that you're figuring out which foods are going to work well for you and which foods you should reduce or avoid. So don't worry about the numbers going up and down. I promise they'll get better. The second question I get all the time is, do I need to check glucoses after I eat a snack if I have a snack? And the answer is usually you don't need to do that. Just fasting before you have anything to eat or drink in the morning, and then 1 hour or 2 hours after you start each meal, whichever method we have talked about, that's what you should be doing. But after snacks, you don't have to check. In the middle of the night, you don't have to check. But if you ever feel as though your glucose is dropping, if you feel shaky or jittery or nervous or hangry, then maybe you should check a glucose and see if that's what's bothering you. The third question I hear a lot is, if I get up in the middle of the night and eat a snack, is that going to affect my fasting glucose? The answer is yes. If you eat at 3 a.m. or 5 a.m. and then you get up at 7 or 8 in the morning, I would treat that first glucose as a post-meal glucose and not a true fasting glucose. Another point to make is that if you eat a bedtime snack at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night, that doesn't count, and if you're fasting until the morning, that can actually improve your fasting glucose, because a prolonged fast, any fast that's any longer than 7 or 8 hours, can cause your glucoses to start to bounce back up. The last question I get a lot is, why are my glucoses so different after 2 meals with the same number of grams of carbohydrates? And the answer to that is maybe a little bit more complicated, but the bottom line is that glucoses do different things depending on different carbs. So even though the carb count may be exactly the same, potato carbs may be treated a little bit different than flour carbs or bread carbs. So it's going to be in your best interest to figure out which carbs you do better with. So for me, rice makes my glucoses go up, but bread doesn't do that so much. You're going to have to figure out which are your friendly carbs. So this is why we bring people back after the first week, just for a review and some encouragement for the road. Make sure that wherever you get your diabetic education, you have a follow-up appointment with your provider or your educator or nutritionist, so that you can talk through these questions and have the confidence to take care of your diabetes going forward. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.